Ross Bolen Podcast.
You better listen.
Welcome back to the Ross Bolen Podcast, otherwise known as RBP, presented by Bolen Media. I am your host, Ross Bolen. Back again, as always, with your co-host, Chris Coulson.
Morning.
What's good, sir?
Hey, we're in the new studio.
New studio.
If you've never been on youtube.com/Bolen Media, now would be a great chance to check it out and see what we're sitting in.
Yeah.
We're couch boys now.
New space. We're going to start today's show with a quick Monday Mental Health Minute, paying respects to the cold shower.
Amen.
Massively underutilized tool, the cold shower. Far too many of us are hot shower addicts. The warmth is like our
safe space.
It's like our pathetic comfort zone of sadness.
Absolutely.
And don't get me wrong, there's a time and place for a nice warm or even hot shower. But one of the things I didn't know when I was younger, like when I was a little kid and I used to just take these steaming hot showers, was it's very bad for you.
Not good for your skin.
No, and it dehydrates you too.
Does it?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of the dehydration.
But I was like one of the people who, and there are a lot of you out there, so don't judge me, who gets out of the shower and has like red spots on their body
Because it was so
because
hot.
the water was so hot.
I'm the same way.
I'm not talking hives. I'm talking like, white people, we get red skin when it's burned or whatever.
I slowly bump the heat up as I get used to it in the shower.
Oh yeah.
Until I get it to like max temperature, basically.
Where you've got nothing left.
Exactly. So
the water heater's just down there just like, more coal.
I'm a hot shower guy at night every time, no matter what. I'm not taking a cold shower at night. But mornings, in tune with our mental health minute, the cold shower to start off the morning, it's almost like primal. It gets you back into like your headspace of where you're just ready to dominate.
Now, I know you never watched Seinfeld because it was before your time.
I mean, I've seen episodes of Seinfeld, but I've never watched
At one point,
Seinfeld.
Kramer, his kooky neighbor, Jerry's kooky
Is that
neighbor,
the guy with the
the hair.
glasses? Oh, no.
With the hair. No, that's George Costanza with the glasses. Kramer joins a polar bear club.
Sure.
Where you go swimming in the freezing cold, like polluted river in New York. I can't remember what it. Weird
the
episode.
The Hudson.
Yeah, but that's a thing. I think it was the Hudson. That's a thing in like in Austin. There are people that do this.
Yeah.
They go swimming in these freezing cold temperatures. There's people that do like the cryo tanks and shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Similar concept, but the cold water in a cold shower, for those of us who aren't trying to like make a trip to our local cryo tank or go jump in the Hudson with Kramer, is an actually realistic tool, and it like blasts out of you whatever lame headspace you may be in to start the day. Like
Absolutely.
That cold shower. Coles and I this morning, we hit a workout. We drink coffee, watch the news, put the show rundown together, hit a workout, and then cold showers separately. And I mean, it's like it really is so helpful for if you have depression, if you have anxiety. For those of us who, Chris and I discussed this last week off mic, we all have coping mechanisms. We all have things we utilize to get through tough situations, tough days, tough weeks, tough years in some cases. 2020 has been no doubt a challenging year. And for a lot of us, our coping mechanisms are starting to become less effective as we've leaned on them so much throughout the course of 2020.
100%.
And, even something as simple as a cold shower can be enough of a switch up to get you out of that, sort of repetitive headspace, to break you up. It just wakes your brain up in another way. It's like a shot of adrenaline to the fucking soul.
Like I was saying, yeah. To me, the primal is the only way I know how to describe it so I don't get in to freezing cold water. Right?
Caveman Chris. Yeah.
Do you hop in? I hop into like lukewarm water after we work out, like warm enough to I shampoo my hair. Well, no, I shampoo my hair and I like clean my body and everything like that.
Okay.
I get all the shower things done that I need to get done.
Okay.
And then the last minute of the shower, I go all the way cold instantly. And I turn around and face like with the head behind me and I let it run like
you give a little yell
hair
out?
down my I do every time because it like forces you to. Like and that's what I was
my
saying.
noise,
That's
by
what
the
I was
way.
saying when it's like so that's what I'm hearing in the shower.
When I get cold, that's the noise I make for real.
Every time you get cold?
No, from water?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you kind of force. That's why I was saying primal, because it like forces you to let out a bit of a yell. I'm like, woo, 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 woo.
Yeah.
You let it out, and it does kind of jumpstart your brain to get into the day. You know what I mean? It forces your brain to get moving, and it really does reset your mind and like really, really wakes you up. I mean, I recommend It sounds so simple, but if you've never taken a freezing cold shower to start off your morning,
Be weird.
try it one
first
time.
of all, have you never ever tried it?
Dude, I hadn't tried it until I
but
was
it had been a
like-
long time for me.
Yeah, I didn't try it until a girl I dated back last winter. She took freezing cold showers, and I was like, I think you're crazy because every time she would take a shower,
You
I'd
took
hear,
freezing cold showers
"Woo!
with her?
Woo!" No. She would
I was gonna
just
say,
take
that's a
freezing
weird-
cold showers.
That's the thing. You can't do a freezing cold shower with another individual. That's
No, this is like a
that's
30
just
second,
weird.
1
and
minute,
the
like-
penis and testicles, they become they contract.
Yes,
Another episode of Seinfeld.
microscopic.
I was a cold shower. Costanza gets walked in on in the nude,
Sure.
and a woman sees his junk,
Ah.
and he has recently had a cold shower and does not feel he is properly representing. And the
Understandable.
episode is about that. That's an entire episode of the show.
So he's a grower, not a shower.
Yeah, your strategy of being a half in, half out guy and doing the warmth and then the cold, it is effective too. But a lot of the time, I'll pick that strategy sometimes. More
Sure.
often, if I'm in need of a cold shower, though, I turn that bitch on as cold as it goes.
And you're in
I
it.
stand there and I stare at it. I go, this is going to suck. And then I fucking force myself in there and shut the door. And I just go, and that's how I start my day.
Like getting out today was literally, I described it to Ross in the car as a euphoric cold shower because as it's gotten colder outside, Ross has a very good water heater in the house. Let me just say that. So as it's gotten
Thank
colder
you.
outside,
I picked it myself. No, I was
course.
just there.
Absolutely. As it got colder outside, the pipes have also gotten colder. Therefore, the lowest point that the water can go has gotten colder with the air temperature. So this morning was the first morning that I've taken a real cold shower while it's cold outside at Ross's house. And getting out of the shower, I mean, ear-to-ear smile.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
grinning. It's fantastic.
It's like it freezes depression or some shit and turns it into one endorphin. And speaking of which, if you're hungover, cold showers are the bomb too.
Absolutely. It
jars your brain out of its bitch state.
It's almost like a small high sometimes.
It's
You
like
know what I
runner's
mean?
high. It's a
Yeah.
little bit like a runner's high. Yeah,
Absolutely,
especially if you hit one after a workout.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's when your brain's firing on all cylinders. Frankly, this is why one day I dream of having a pool or like living on the beach or the ocean or whatever, because water is my jam.
Me too, yeah.
That shit brings me life.
Absolutely.
I'm in for it. So come with me and Coles today and take a swim in the healing waters of Lake Minnetonka. It's time for some announcements and shouts. Happy 19th birthday coming up tomorrow to Colby. Thanks for supporting the podcast. Happy birthday to Parker Bourne. Your girlfriend Charlie reached out and by doing so has now flipped the tables of your birthday as you now owe her a present. Enjoy that. Happy birthday to Kylie from Atlanta coming up this Friday. Happy birthday to Mike Oxmall, I think it is. As Cole's mentioned, if you want to watch our show, not just listen, you can at youtube.com/Bolen Media. Watch new episodes every time they drop, usually a few hours after the audio drops because video takes a bit to upload. Every single week, youtube.com/Bolen Media, Monday and Wednesday. Speaking of video, twitch.tv/BossRollin is where Chris and I go live on Twitch a few nights a week, thereabouts. This week, we have a very special schedule. Tonight, Monday night, we will be doing a Vote or Die live stream starting at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, because obviously tomorrow is Election Day.
It is.
Monday night, 6:30 p.m. Central Time, twitch.tv/BossRollin. Get out and vote. Coles and I are going to try to do our best to entertain everybody through the chaos of the next 48 hours, which brings me to our next stream. Tuesday evening, we will be doing live election coverage starting at the same time-ish, 6:30 p.m. Central. And Coles and I will be in costume. What costumes, you don't get to know yet. But we're stopping by the costume store on the way home. As everyone else is dropping off costumes from Halloween, we will be picking up costumes for your entertainment. Tomorrow night will likely be one of the more stressful nights of our entire lives. And I say that all of us. So we'll try to bring some levity to that on twitch.tv/BossRollin. I can promise you this. There will be a hot dog involved in some way, shape, or form. But that's all I can say about it, Chris.
And if you are not dressed as one, we'll have to figure out other ways to get hot dogs involved. And you don't want to miss that.
I think I'll be dressed as one. Which brings us to our first segment. Insane headlines of the day. Every week we like to pull some of the most ridiculous, insane, hilarious, entertaining, and sometimes horrifying headlines from the interwebs. And today our first one is this. Russian sausage king killed in sauna with a crossbow. And we're going to go ahead and skip all the clue jokes that could be made here, as those have been made 1,000 times on Twitter already. But here's your news. A Russian oligarch nicknamed the Sausage King, which I thought was a character from
Sausage party?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, has been murdered with a crossbow, investigators say. Vladimir Maragov and his partner were in an outdoor sauna when they were attacked, reportedly by 2 masked assailants. This also reminds me of a Russian mafia movie I once watched that I can never remember the name of, in which Viggo Mortensen fights a man nude, fully nude, penis flopping about in the sauna. The woman managed to escape through the window and call police.
You know, Ross, I feel like she might have managed to escape because the assailants decided to use a crossbow.
They did.
Instead of, a gun or a knife.
A sword.
Or a katana.
Really anything.
Really anything except a crossbow.
Reload the crossbow! That wasn't a Russian accent. Detectives found the body of Mr. Maragov, don't know, who owned some of Russia's largest meat processing plants, in the sauna with a crossbow next to it. The attack happened at Mr. Maragov's countryside estate about 25 miles outside the capital of Moscow early on Monday morning. And their investigative committee, similar to the FBI in the U.S., has reported all this. It did not name the man, but local media identified him as Mr. Maragov, the owner of the Azyorsky and Meat Empire sausage factories, the sausage king of Russia.
Honestly,
He's been murdered with a crossbow.
So incredibly Russian to have an oligarch whose only role in society is to process meats. Lots and lots of meats. Oh, we don't have anything like that. We have corporations and stuff like that, but they have a king of fucking sausage in Russia. Maybe this is what would fix things here. We need more kings of industry.
We had an Abe Froman.
Was he our king of sausage?
Who was the sausage king of Chicago.
Did
in
he get
Ferris
murdered by
Bueller's
a
Day
crossbow?
Off. Nobody knows what happened to Abe. It's
Okay.
one of the great mysteries in American folklore.
Maybe this is the way sausage kings go then. We should do more research on that. I want to make sure.
It's
'Cause I'm
him and
thinking
Jimmy
about-
Hoffa, though. Nobody knows where Hoffa is. Nobody knows where Abe Froman is.
They were all involved with meats on different levels.
Mm-hmm. So these sausage kings, people don't realize it. Risky business.
Dangerous life out there to be the king of the sausage.
It is. The getaway car was later recovered on the outskirts of town, outside Moscow.
Heavy is the head that holds the crown.
Apparently, the intruders demanded cash from Maragov before fleeing in a car. So they demanded cash, often with a crossbow.
So let's be honest here.
And
This isn't
bounced.
Russia. Mass assailants coming just for cash in a sauna 25 miles outside of Moscow. That sounds very fishy.
Also, you kind of got to be specific now. If you say masked assailants, it's like, were they wearing masks because of COVID? Or
That's
were
a good
these
point.
were they wearing masks because they were doing crimes?
They're just socially distanced assailants. That's why they use
Maybe
the
they-
crossbow.
They're just being
If they-
responsible.
Well, geez, now this completely changes my entire perspective on this article. They were just
And who's in the wrong here? It really sounds like it could be the sausage king.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe he wasn't socially distanced in the sauna, needed to take a crossbow.
Sounds like him and his partner were way too close.
Let's
They were
get
just enforcing the rules. That's just how Russia enforces their social distancing laws.
with a crossbow.
They just shoot people with crossbows.
Just people at the corner with crossbows, and if they see somebody walking too close to another person, crossbow. Shoot.
Fire off a warning shot.
Boom.
This one was just a little too close.
Shooting somebody with a crossbow in Warzone is a great nut moment. Doesn't happen often.
Exactly.
Hard to do.
That's all I've been thinking about the entire time on the reload time of a crossbow. It takes way too long, bro.
The rest of today's show is canceled. Coles and I are going to play Warzone. Just kidding. Next headline. Computer-generated influencers make more money than you. And me, frankly. In some cases, it's true. This is from Bloomberg. Virtual influencers make real money while COVID locks down human stars. So because the human stars can't go out and do the human things they typically do, throw parties, whatever Dan Bilzerian does, whatever the Kardashians typically do, they have to do the 2 weeks of social distancing and then testing and then go out to a private island for Kim's birthday because they can't do the things they regularly do. They've been really negatively impacted, these virtual influencers.
No, the real.
I'm sorry, the real influencers. So the virtual influencers are taking advantage. I didn't even realize there were virtual influencers, which is an obvious thing now that I'm thinking about it. But because we have the technology to create very realistic looking, graphically engineered images that are people, yeah, this makes sense.
Carrie Fisher was in the last Star Wars movie, and she'd been dead for 2 years by then. And they still just, made it happen.
We've
crazy.
seen Robert Kardashian recently reanimated,
Excellent.
in which he proclaimed that Kanye is a super genius or something like that. We've seen Tupac perform
Yes.
at Coachella.
Yes. That was a while ago now.
Why would
Speaking of Tupac.
Speaking of Tupac, my shirt today. Yeah.
Third-eyed Tupac.
Yeah. why would there not be virtual influencers? Here, I'm going to read a little bit from this Bloomberg article.
Let us know what a virtual influencer is.
Seraphine's flowing pink hair and cat-themed Instagram posts had attracted thousands of fans when the news that she was created by Riot Games Incorporated, the studio behind smash hit esports game League of Legends, sent her account viral.
And Valorant.
Now her follower count is nearly 400,000, and she's making appearances in Shanghai to promote her music, while most flesh and blood social media stars are stuck at home. Despite not being real, she still sometimes wears a mask. At a time when interacting safely with other humans can no longer be taken for granted, the appetite for digital spokespeople is accelerating. Brands are expected to spend as much as $15 billion annually on influencer marketing by 2022, up from $8 billion last year, according to Business Insider Intelligence. A growing slice of that money belongs to virtual influencers, and traditional marketing is experiencing serious disruption. Virtual influencers, while fake, have real business potential, says Christopher Travers, the founder of virtualhumans.org, a website that documents the industry. They are cheaper to work with than humans in the long term, are 100% controllable, can appear in many places at once, and are most importantly, they never age or die.
What watch lists is this guy on? I need to know all of them now, because if he's not on any, there's problems.
Seraphine, who on October 13th was also revealed to be a playable character on League of Legends, which draws as many as 8 million concurrent daily users, is one of about 125 active virtual influencers, according to Travers. More than 50 of those debuted on social media in the 18 months to June 2020. I'm assuming the 18 months prior to June 2020. On YouTube, virtual influencers number more than 5,000. So I have a lot of questions here.
Yep.
We're going to go through a lot of the terminology that's been thrown around here, and like digital spokespeople. Do we need that?
I mean, I'm looking at a picture right now of a digital Colonel Sanders promoting Dr. Pepper. Do we need that? Do we need a Colonel Sanders that looks like he's 22 years old with a mustache and glasses? Look at this man. Do we need this?
Why is he promoting Dr. Pepper?
I think it's under brand
KFC.
thing. I don't know.
I don't want.
Well, Dr. Pepper is one of those weird ones too that's not even involved with like Coke or Pepsi, so I don't know.
Maybe they're owned by the same company as KFC.
Who knows?
Okay, so Riot Games is a massive video game company.
Huge, yeah, absolutely massive.
And they are creating,
yes,
again, League of Legends. What did it say? 8 million concurrent users or some crazy shit like that? It's a massively popular game.
Yeah, I think it has more than 8 million.
8 million concurrent daily users.
Okay, so that means 8 million
8 million people a day play League of Legends.
Yes.
That's a shitload of people.
Lots of people to play one video game that's been out for tens of years.
One of the more popular games on the planet. Valorant as well, one that you recently mentioned, is a really, really fun game that Coles and I both enjoy, which also has weird ties to China and a really, really intrusive anti-hacking system for some reason.
Does have that.
But they're creating people like Seraphine, who is like an Asian chick with pink hair, with a cat-themed Instagram, that they're using. If you're curious, like what defines an influencer? Basically, an influencer is a human who attains a following and then utilizes that following to sell advertising. That's it. So if you're following this podcast, for example, and you listen to one of our ad reads, which you'll hear in a few minutes, that technically puts us in the realm of influencers, which apparently is good, considering $15 billion annually is expected to be spent on influencer marketing by 2022. Holler at us, we're influencers, #influencers. But the whole point in that, right, is that you listen to us talk.
Yep.
You follow us on social media, you're aware of our views, our takes, the things that we bring to the table,
Sure.
And we're human beings that you can actually look into our history, our past, etc. A virtual influencer or a digital spokesperson, being, that they're not real.
Yes.
What are you buying into?
So here's what worries me about this whole thing, especially being that it regards around like video game culture as well, and like the pink hair cat Instagram thing. This gives me some. Do you know who Belle Delphine is? Have you ever heard of her? She was like the gamer girl that wanted to sell her bathwater that time, and it made headlines. And like she's like the epitome of like the anime gamer girl that like uses sex appeal to like.
So she just does the anime face where she sticks her tongue out over
mostly
and over.
Nerdy white guys. Well, what worries me about the digital influencer version of the cat Instagram pink hair girl is that it's just made by like nerdy white guys to turn this shit into like porn and stuff like that because they're digital.
Yeah, this just ends with with porn.
With VR porn, like to where you can have sex with like your digital crush
Like,
of your
if
lifetime,
if
like
you
your
don't think
supermodel. That's
Sarah-
what scares
you pay,
me about this.
You pay $50 and suddenly Sarah
You can
Finn
have
is stripping.
VR, and you can have VR Seraphin.
Where's her OnlyFans at?
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like that's what scares me about this. Like it seems very, very, very creepy. Very creepy. That like higher up corporations, a lot of which are very involved with males, are creating these like digital women.
Sexy fake chicks.
Yes.
Yeah.
To sell their product.
I mean, it's odd. I'm also concerned for girls like who did you bring up? This pink-haired
Belle Delphine.
I'm also concerned for the Belle Delphines of the world. If you can just be replaced by a digital woman, fake woman.
Yeah, but how can gamer guys buy digital bathwater?
And this is where, like,
That's the question.
you know how all these shows and movies that have addressed the future over the past several decades,
Have
you know,
involved
you get stuff like this
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
these movies.
Her,
And now we're starting to see some of that come to life.
Black Mirror.
And I'm just like, what the shit? Because inevitably, there will be a point where this is a massive problem. People not knowing if the person or thing that they're interacting with online
Is
is real
real.
or AI.
Yes.
And at some point, there's going to be a large group of people who don't give a shit.
Yes.
And then there's going to be a group of people who are very concerned with what this
Well,
is
it
a
brings
safety
up-
issue in terms of like fraud,
Yeah.
wide-scale fraud.
Yes.
This is going to be a problem.
Well, you know,
it's going to
like,
be weird. You know, it's already weird. Like, bro, when I was a little kid, and we would go into chat rooms.
Sure.
It was constantly people misrepresenting themselves. So this was a
Absolutely.
problem from the early days of the internet. You know, I'd pop into like a lesbian chat room and throw out 18-F-LA, and like that was ridiculous. This is like
L.A. What was the L.A.
Los
stand?
Angeles. It was your age, sex, location, ASL, and I mean that from the get-go, people have always been misrepresenting themselves online. People put up fake Instagrams.
Absolutely.
People make fake profiles constantly. There's a billion bots. But when that transforms from simply an account that you could vet pretty easily and see that it's fake to a full-blown digitally created human being that you're interacting with and giving money to and shit,
Yep.
then we've reached into a weird space,
Well,
and
it-
that's how you get an insane headline.
It brings up the like Ready Player One scenario, and like when as VR technology continues to improve and games start to use real money to buy things in game, right? Then it becomes, well, people are now starting to build these virtual lives online, which they enjoy way better than their real lives, and they have actual relationships within these online
And we've seen that
worlds.
unfold already
Yeah.
multiple times through. This is just a much more intensely, I feel like, even more addictive version of it. Like World of Warcraft as an example, like where people got into this game, and I mean, it was the first one where it was so big, millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people, where you saw it consuming their lives. Like I
Yeah.
had a roommate in college who, man, when I went out Friday night, he'd be like, "All right, dog, later. I'll see you. I'm gonna be playing some WoW," and I'd be
Yeah.
like, "Cool." And I'd get back, and he'd have like crushed a 12-pack and was still sitting there like grinding his fucking little troll dick
been there before.
in Warcraft, World of Warcraft, and I was just like, "Bro, this is fucking wild." But he would like tell me about his day, but in Warcraft.
Yeah.
Not like the shit he did with the real human day. Like it
Yeah.
was about like the shit he had accomplished in Warcraft, and I was just like, "All right, that's crazy."
Well, and like WoW Vanilla, like WoW Classic, the original one,
Dork.
it took so much time.
I played it, by the way.
Took
for a
so
few
much
months.
time to do anything because you couldn't like teleport around the map or
No,
anything.
you had to
like that.
walk
You had to walk everywhere. So
or
the,
fly
the
or
grind.
whatever.
But I was just
Once you
thinking
got
too,
access to the flying.
Yes, the thought just popped in my head as well from a company side of things. The digital influencer makes so much sense because if it's an AI, you can literally sell a one-on-one conversation with this AI to anyone. It does like they're not a real person.
And I love this. I
you
love
can-
that quote. They're cheaper to work with than humans in the long term and the short
Obviously.
term. Are 100% controllable. Can appear in many places at once.
Yeah,
And most importantly, never age or die.
yeah.
It's like also, hey, Christopher, do you mind?
Stop fucking aging.
Why are you just dropping insult after insult on the human race? Give us a break. Virtualhumans.org to track the virtual humans.
Yeah,
This
also,
is we are just a
virtualhumans-
few years away from a full-blown Westworld scenario unfolding. By the way,
Virtualhumans.org is the scariest domain name I think I've ever heard in my entire life.
Vamp. Those are your insane headlines of the day. Hope you enjoyed. RBP 345 is brought to you by Birddogs, makers of the most comfortable all-purpose shorts in the fucking world. You can literally wear them to do anything, anywhere, at any time. They're gym shorts with a built-in silky soft inner liner that makes underwear obsolete. And now they make pants with built-in underwear. And without it, if you're afraid of chains and you're a coward. They're the most breathable, summer-friendly, and winter good-looking pants you've ever owned. Incredibly comfortable, perfect for any activity, a meal out on the town, kicking it at home and on your couch. In the safety and comfort of your domicile. They look great. Nobody's even going to know you're 1,000 times more comfortable than them in your Birddogs pants. Shockingly comfortable. Feels like you're wearing nothing. Like you're Winnie the Pooh with a top on and no bottoms. They dry faster than a bathing suit. You can hit a workout, jump straight into the pool, get out, dry off in the sun, wear them to drive around in your Tesla because you have a Tesla now, then drive that Tesla back home. Wash it with your golden retriever Elvis because you're wearing Birddogs, and bitch, you can do anything. And if you're wondering if we're going to eventually do a commercial with a golden retriever and a Tesla once my Model 3 comes in, then you're absolutely fucking spot on. Go to birddogs.com. Enter the promo code RBP when you check out, and guess what? You get a free pair of nunchucks with your order. Nunchucks that I would argue could be the ultimate Christmas stocking stuffer. Every boy and girl in America wants to wake up to an orange pair of nunchucks in their stocking, and right now you can get yourself some if you go to birddogs.com. Grab anything, use the code RBP when you check out. Free pair of nunchucks comes with your order. Birddogs.com, code RBP, boom, free nunchucks. Enjoy your bird dogs. You will never want to take them off. They are a safe space for all your most valuable possessions. Next segment. Best Buy's no good, very bad decade.
Oh, Best Buy.
Look, Best Buy has been in hot water as an American institution since Amazon caught fire, right? Second Amazon became a thing, especially Amazon Prime. It was like, I mean, there were people who go to Best Buy to pick something out, then they bounce, and they buy that shit on Amazon. Best Buy is just behind in general. Most of the shit you can buy there, technology-wise, will be like 2 or 3 versions old.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when I was a little kid, Best Buy was the most fun, man. Like,
okay, don't get me wrong. I still can have fun going into Best Buy if I only need either one thing that I know that they're going to have available instantly.
but like, what would it be? Give me an example.
Like, for example, when I needed that USB charger thing.
What is that, fucking $10?
Yeah.
See?
I'm not going into Best Buy to buy expensive shit anymore.
That's what I'm telling you.
Hell no.
So, like, it is still a cool place to go in and peep some shit.
Yeah.
But you're walking out of there with, like, a CD or...
100%. Yeah. Like, I'll go in and be like, oh, wow, they have, like, 280-inch QLED
Why would you buy a CD?
8K TVs, but that's cool.
Yeah. Exactly.
And, like, you can look at it.
But you don't buy your TV at Best Buy.
No,
unless
not anymore.
you're crazy.
Absolutely not. No, the last
now, they
time
might have
I
some
went,
price match or some shit or whatever,
Yeah.
but point is, Best Buy's been busted as fuck.
I made my decision that I was done buying anything of value at Best Buy when I went there to buy a headset one time. And Best Buy now has to have price match, because if they didn't have price match, they'd literally go out of business, because Amazon has everything cheaper for the most part. So I go in, I find this headset on Amazon.
They just can't compete, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I find this headset on Amazon, exact same headset. And I find it in the store, and it's like $15 cheaper on Amazon. So I walk up with the headset to go to checkout, and there's the lady working at the counter. And I show her the Amazon thing, and I was like, hey, here's the price on here. Could you price match this? And she scrolls down on my phone. And she's like, that's not the same product. And I was like, I looked at it, looked at this, literally the exact same name. She was like, no. The SKU numbers aren't the same. You have to type in the SKU number, not the description. I was like, okay, no problem. Let's try it out. So she takes my phone. She types in the SKU number of the code. You know what pops up, Ross? The exact same headset that I just had pulled up on my phone.
Shocker.
And so then, with disgust, she turns around and has to call her manager to now come up. That takes 5 more minutes to come up and reduce $15 off my headset. And I was like, yeah, I have no idea how you are still working as a corporation, and will be taking my business elsewhere moving forward.
Weirdly, I'm reading an article now on Forbes, which is generally trash, I should note, that is saying Best Buy is bouncing back well
in 2020?
In 2020, which is interesting because they've had to file for bankruptcy multiple times, to my memory. And not in 2020, but I know at least once in 2020 for bankruptcy protection. The reason we're discussing Best Buy today is because they announced over the weekend on, I don't know, like October 27th, what is this, 4 days before Halloween, last week at some point, that they just sent out a tweet. We're doing our Black Friday deals pretty early, like right now early. But the video that is attached to that tweet is of one of their employees, a woman, a female, doing a TikTok dance, and this is a TikTok that has been repurposed, basically. It's like hundreds of Black Friday ad deals available right now. It's a white chick. She's wearing a mask, and she's just like dominating this TikTok dance. I don't know the name of it. I'm 30 fucking three. I don't look at TikTok. It is one.
It is one?
And here's how I know. Because when you get into the comments, it says we're doing our Black Friday deals pretty early, like right now early. You watch the video, and then when you scroll down and you see the replies, this shit was a total disaster. First reply, mad people out here struggling to pay their rent and survive right now, and Best Buy is like, dancing into savings. Disgusting. And there we go. I get it. Black Friday ad and have the non-black individual borrow or attempt to emulate black cultural expression. Fail! Exclamation point. This is why every ad company needs to have a diverse team. I guarantee not one black was in the room when they brainstormed this one. Do better, Best Buy. Not in good taste, to say the least, but that no longer surprises me. Ghetto seems to be the new norm in corporate America. This Best Buy tweet has an exact replication of like all of the political and social issues in our country in its replies. It's incredible. Next reply from a white woman named Lauren Houston. Should have had no mask! Exclamation point. More business. Hard pass for me now. She even tweets like Trump.
Good Lord.
Next one. I bet y'all fired hella black people TikToks like this too before you gave this broad a promotion and bonus, huh? I hope y'all are paying her more than $80K a year, having her dance around and having to breathe heavy in a mask during a pandemic. That's not right. Next one. This person was likely paid their standard base wage for this performance and representation. Unionize all retail, remove property rights, return human rights! Exclamation point.
Wow.
Next one. And yet 8 million people were pushed into homelessness and poverty this year due to COVID cutbacks a lot of employers chose to make. Many more are still unemployed, not making nearly enough to keep a roof over their head. Forget electronics. All I want for Xmas is a warm bed. Like, do you see the issue here? People are wildly overreacting to everything right now.
Well, nobody has anything else to talk about.
Stupid commercial by a failing company in an effort to bring attention to their Black Friday sales, which have nothing to do with the Friday or blackness. So, is it stupid? Yes, but is it something that like people should be having like a very emotional response to regarding like society as a whole?
No,
probably
not.
not.
Is it a terrible commercial?
Yes, but
it's
most
really bad.
Commercials are trash.
Yeah, remember we were just
Especially
talking about
this year,
the other
man.
night. Yeah,
They're
it seems
mailing
to be
it in.
It seems to be the new norm because of COVID, probably as well. Where these companies are like, hey, we could just pay this TikTok influencer like $2,000 to make us a really short, memeable, like maybe somewhat good, mostly very cheesy, corny TikTok. And that's way easier than hiring an entire set, cameraman, and commercial crew to come in and film something.
It just blows.
And they're really bad, like really terrible. We saw Popeye's one the other night. That was awful.
I just don't get how you could watch that commercial and it would take your mind to like, we're just picking everything apart in such a way that I do not understand how any of us will ever be happy again if this is how we continue to operate. Like, this cannot be our world where everything is cancel culture, everything is outrage. We have so much of that at the top level right now that we don't really need to insert it everywhere. Like, there is enough to cancel and enough to be upset about. Yo, it's a Best Buy commercial. Like, they have no shot. Just let them have this commercial. They're trying to do Black Friday, an Amazon deal, weeks early, in an effort to make it a thing for them. Like, just it isn't about anything else. It's just a trash company with a bad commercial. Like, why is everything got to be so deep? And going into tonight and tomorrow night, and really what'll likely be several more nights after that, at the very least, fingers crossed, knock on wood, that we don't end up waiting weeks and weeks and weeks or even months for an election result. We cannot. What I ask is that you don't bring more drama to the table than is already there. Like, we don't need to create drama for this current day and age. All right? We don't need to insert outrage where it's not necessary. And also, there's something to be said for a lack of focus. Focus. We can't just be pissed about everything. We need to pick our spots here and roll. Like, you can't attack 50, 100,000 things at once. Like, it seems like right now we've got a pretty obvious couple of things we should be focused on. And this ain't it. Like, Best Buy on Twitter. It's crazy to me. Like, and especially like looking past the election. Yo, we all have to come out of this and end this year on some kind of positive note. It's the year of the comeback. We've been getting our shit kicked all year long. Nobody wants to continue this way. Nobody that I know is like, I want things to go this way next year.
Bro, I cannot continue this way.
Like,
we gotta turn this shit around, bro.
We're done. We're done. Enough with the misery. Like, we have got to turn this shit around. Whatever that means from a positivity or an attitude standpoint, like, we're all going to need to shift. And that means me too, Chris too, everybody. Like, we cannot just ride negativity into the depths of hell. I will not do it. And I certainly will laugh at stuff like this. How did the Best Buy tweet turn into a social commentary on politics, on civil rights, on consumerism, on capitalism, on mask wearing, on COVID, on like minimum wage? Like, it turned into a conversation about everything. It's just like, yeah, just go to Best Buy, walk around the Blu-ray aisle, laugh at a couple of movies you saw, go check out the TVs, grab yourself a fucking USB charger, and get out. How about that? If you want to do something at Best Buy, that's the thing to do. It's not respond to their tweets with social justice calls. Thank you for your time. RBP 345 is also brought to you by Bespoke Post. This holiday season, as you get back in the swing of things, Bespoke Post has brand new seasonal box of awesome collections for guys, guaranteed to upgrade your life. Whether it's to upgrade because you're trying to find some new craft beers or cozy threads when the temperature is colder, Bespoke Post only sends guys the best stuff every month. And no matter what you're into, Box of Awesome has you covered. From style and grooming goods to barware, cooking tools, outdoor gear, Box of Awesome has collections for every part of your life. Right now, some of my favorites are the Puro and the Weekender. The Puro is this badass, nice cigar box. I'm pulling it up right now so I can look at it as I speak to it. It's 6 premium cigars and everything you need to enjoy them. I thoroughly enjoy a good cigar in the wintertime, especially when it's nice and chilly outside. Also, the Weekender. It's an incredible weekend bag for your safe travels this holiday season. Bespoke Post. They're only going to send you the best every month. You get started by taking the quiz at boxofawesome.com. It's a short quiz, takes a few seconds. Your answers will help them pick the right Box of Awesome for you. They release new boxes every month across a ton of different categories. It's free to sign up. You can skip a month or cancel at any time. Each box costs only $45, but it has over $70 worth of gear inside. And you, my friend, can get 20% off your first monthly box when you sign up at boxofawesome.com. Enter the code RBP at checkout. That's boxofawesome.com. Code RBP for 20% off your first box. Next segment. Serial killers you haven't heard of.
We're back.
We're back again. It's always been too long since we covered a serial killer on this podcast, and as we all know, if you forget history, you're doomed to repeat it. So here's to avoiding more serial killers in the future by learning about the psychos of the past. Today's psycho is Brian Gene Nichols. Born December 10th, 1971, Chris, he's known for his escape and killing spree in Fulton County, Atlanta, Georgia, in the Fulton County Courthouse in Atlanta, Georgia, to be specific, on March 11th, 2005. So Nichols went on trial for rape.
Sure.
He escaped from custody.
Wow.
And murdered the judge presiding over his trial. And a court reporter. Also a sheriff's deputy. Oh, and later a federal agent. 26 hours after a large-scale manhunt was launched in the metropolitan Atlanta area, Nichols was taken into custody. The prosecution charged him with committing 54 crimes during the escape.
It's kind of impressive.
He was found guilty on all 54 counts. I know it's only funny because it's sick and sad. No, November 7th, 2008, he was found guilty on all counts.
54 counts? And is that
just,
a record?
Just from during that little spree when he escaped.
That's, what does it say, 26 hours? That's like 2 counts an hour.
So on March 11th, he overpowered a sheriff's deputy while changing clothes, stealing her Glock, beating her into a coma. He had previously attempted multiple times to sneak Shanks into the courtroom via his shoes. He then changed into civilian clothing, originally intended for use during the trial, and entered the courthouse, where he entered the chambers of Judge Roland Barnes. On his way to Barnes' chambers, Nichols encountered case managers Susan Christie and Gina Clark Thomas, as well as attorney David Allman, whom he held at gunpoint and demanded directions to Barnes' location. During this time, Sergeant Grantley White entered the courtroom and attempted to disarm Nichols but failed, and was forced to handcuff the others. White managed to set off an alarm, which Nichols attempted to dispel using White's radio. Nichols later progressed into the courtroom where he fatally shot Barnes, as well as court reporter Julianne Brandau. He later fatally shot Sergeant Hoyt Teasley while escaping from the courthouse. Nichols carjacked several vehicles during his escape and was featured on America's Most Wanted during the manhunt. A reward of $65,000 was announced for anyone that could give information leading to his arrest. Attempts to find him were largely unsuccessful. It was reported that he had attempted to kidnap a young woman as she was walking home from a gymnasium she regularly attended. He fled after hearing the young woman call 911 after her boyfriend defended her from Nichols. Later that day, ICE, believe it or not, U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement agent David G. Wilhelm was shot dead in his home, and several of his belongings, including his badge, a gun, and a pickup truck, were stolen. Nichols was believed to have been a suspect in the shooting death. Police later received a 911 call from a young woman by the name of Ashley Smith who stated that Nichols was at her Duluth, Georgia apartment. Law enforcement responded to the scene where Nichols surrendered himself to the authorities. They recovered several stolen firearms and Agent Wilhelm's wallet. The stolen truck was discovered 2 miles from the apartment. Smith later reported to police that she had been approached by Nichols on March 12th, who forced his way into her apartment, held her hostage at gunpoint for 7 hours, and once in the apartment, she supplied Nichols with methamphetamine, and she also read portions of The Purpose-Driven Life to him.
Huh. A little turnaround right there. You know, I feel that my self-help books do their most work on me when I'm
you're
on
in the midst
meth.
of a methamphetamine high
Induced
on a
post
crime
murder
spree post escaping from court and
Yes,
jail.
exactly. That's the best time to read something like how to make your life better, how to meditate. You know, that when you're really at your lowest right there, that's when it's really the most impactful.
Listen to this. She also tried convincing him to turn himself in by telling Nichols about her husband's death and showing him a scar that she had received from a car wreck while under the influence of drugs. So they really bonded,
Yeah.
which is like some shit that happens on amphetamines.
Yeah, of course.
You just get cranked out of your mind and you just want to fucking talk. Life, man. Fucking life while you grind your teeth.
Absolutely.
That's
I
it.
mean, that's why I received the best advice from the guys that are cracked out on meth outside the gas stations.
Crack!
That's usually when they really are hitting deep in the soul.
Smith later received reward money for her assistance in Nichols' capture. After his arrest, Nichols was taken to an FBI field office in Decatur, Georgia, and then to the Atlanta police station where he confessed on video and detailed his crimes.
You skipped the part where she made him pancakes for breakfast.
Oh, I'm sorry. She also made him pancakes for breakfast.
That's
and
really what got him.
Nichols allowed her to leave to see her daughter like an idiot,
They were
which is when
just-
she called the police.
I think they were just married for a day.
They got way too close. This guy was like, yeah, go see your daughter. I totally trust you. It was probably the meth in part,
Could
if
have
I
been
had
the
to
meth.
guess.
Yeah. I would
Yeah.
say meth. I mean, never been on it personally, but I've heard that, you know, really opens you up emotionally.
It does. He was indicted on charges including murder, felony murder, kidnapping, armed robbery, aggravated assault, aggravated battery, theft, carjacking, and escape from authorities. He pleaded not guilty. It didn't work out.
Good defense right there.
They deliberated for 12 hours over 2 days before finding Nichols guilty on all 54 counts. He was sentenced to multiple life sentences with no chance of parole. And that will do it for Brian Nichols' psycho ass. Meth heads, man.
Yeah, if it only took him
Meth
12
heads.
hours to convict 54 counts, I think he was pretty guilty.
Yeah, that's like an average of I can't do that math. Never mind.
Well, he did. It was 2 counts an hour. He was doing
there's-
like 2 crimes an hour for 26 hours. That's what it says. Crazy man. He was just popping off left and right.
Look at this crazy man. That's a 2 Chainz song. Brian
that
Gene
point-
Nichols, your serial killer you haven't heard of. What's up?
At that point, you think you still stop for stoplights? You're just running every stop. You're just breaking every law you can at that point.
I don't know. I don't see
Fuck
any I don't see any traffic charges
Me
on
neither,
here,
that's
man.
what I'm
Maybe he
saying.
was driving very responsibly in
And
his
safely.
Model 3 Tesla.
Absolutely.
Next segment.
Probably with Birddogs on.
Sports will keep us all sane. Will they, Chris? Will they?
Definitely not. Not me.
For anybody who's curious, like, man, I wonder if Ross's fantasy football season turned around. It hasn't. It hasn't. It's still trash. I need Brady to throw like 5 touchdowns tonight or my season's literally over. This is probably it for me in terms of making the playoffs. And frankly, all I'm trying to do is not get last again so I don't have to caddy next year. That's the goal. That's it. But there was a lot of chaos in the NFL this week, as there kind of has been just every week in general.
Yep.
The COVID year of sports has been insane.
Absolutely crazy.
Relatively unpredictable. The shit like when I see a Titans-Bengals line that I'm like, this can't lose, and then the Bengals win by 11. Joe Burrow takes my money. The Bills beat the Patriots. The Raiders beat the Browns 16-6. The Colts, after a hot start from the Lions, beat the shit out of the Lions 41-21. What else? Vikings over Packers.
The Broncos led a last-second comeback, drove all the way down the field, and threw a walk-off touchdown to win by 1.
Justin Herbert is the devil. I don't even know who he is. Out of nowhere, he's like a top 5 fantasy quarterback. What the fuck is that about?
Saints-Bears went into overtime.
That was a good game.
That was a great game.
A lot of sloppy games, though. You and me saw about 420 drop passes.
It was incredibly bad.
Of course, I went with 420.
It was embarrassingly bad. I mean, there were two back-to-back drives from the Saints and the Bears where Alvin Kamara dropped like 2 passes in a row, Jimmy Graham dropped a pass, and then another Bears receiver dropped a wide-open pass as well. It was just, very sloppy football.
Red zone was depressing.
Extremely depressing.
People are still testing positive left and right, but they're managing to like control this somehow in a way that hasn't destroyed everything. If you're looking for an update on like the Justin Turner story, the Dodgers guy who tested positive for COVID in the middle of the World Series and then and left the game and then came back out to the field to celebrate, I'm still waiting to hear that every single Dodger has COVID. I haven't heard a single thing there. No update. Very weird the way it's being covered. The 76ers in the NBA officially named Daryl Morey, former guest of this podcast and Houston Rockets general manager and generally an idol of mine, as their team president. There was another NBA thing I wanted to discuss. Oh, his daughter, who I follow on Instagram, Morey's daughter, shouts. She put up a photo of him and her, and she was wearing a 76ers hat, and it said, like, "We're rebranding" as the caption. And I almost had, like, like maybe the most depressing sports cry.
Say,
it was
it was
like so real for the first time where I was just like, man, fuck. The Rockets did hire a coach that I do have a lot of. I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings to the table. Silas from Dallas. He's the guy who orchestrated the Mavs offense last year, which was the most efficient offense in NBA history, which I didn't realize. He was a big part of Luka Doncic, whatever, his up and coming career as it has been. He was a huge part in coaching him in his player development. So we're looking forward to seeing what he can do as the coach of the Rockets. But in general, just nobody can possibly be happy to be a Houston Rockets fan right now. Mike D'Antoni, who was just our head coach, is joining the Brooklyn Nets coaching staff as an assistant coach to Steve Nash.
And also assisted by, who was the other guy that played with Steve Nash on the Suns for forever that I would told you about that was going to be their assistant coach? He's got really great hair.
Not Rajah Bell.
No, not him. I don't know. Anyways.
Speaking of Rajah Bell, when I met Steve Nash, that's who he was with, Rajah Bell.
Remind me where
and
you met
if you've
Steve
never heard
Nash
me tell
again?
this story, I'll tell it quickly.
It's like pickup basketball.
I got to go to,
Crazy.
it's like the opposite of pickup basketball. It was in a club. I got to go to the Atlantis Casino when I was like 18 years old. A friend of mine in high school's parents were very wealthy, and they had a yacht. Rich, wealthy people call yachts boats. I'm not a wealthy person. It's a fucking yacht. It's not a boat. A boat is like what you drive on a lake. That's a yacht, fam. So they took us to the Atlantis, and the Atlantis has a club in it, like a little nightclub that you dance at. The Atlantis is a casino. Huge casino. It's badass. You should go if you love casinos. It's in the Bahamas. It's very expensive. The drinks are like $32 each. I had a swipe card. I was living the dream. I want to go back to that time so bad. Just for just a few hours, man. Just give me a few hours of that freedom again. But we were in the club dancing around, and this is a pretty nice place, man. And there's rich people and famous people there and shit. And we'd seen Patrick Ewing playing cards at one point. I'd seen some people up in there. I saw oh my God, Mike Bibby. Mike Bibby was sitting at a table with these two. I want to say they were clearly escorts.
Okay.
And we were like, damn, Mike Bibby is fucking huge. He was already huge. Now Mike Bibby looks like he's on steroids, and it's funny, and people put up pictures of him, and they're like, Jesus Christ, Mike Bibby looks like the Hulk.
Yeah.
Mike Bibby was already a big dude, and this was when he was in the league. And 45 minutes after I saw Bibby, there was this huge commotion in the casino. And I've told this story so many times, but we were like, what happened? What happened? And I think the pit boss came by and was like, Mike Bibby just knocked some dude out for touching one of his girls or talking to one of them or something.
No
just
way.
on the casino floor. And that dude got tossed out that Mike Bibby knocked out. But that's neither here nor there. So we're dancing around in the club, and it was the week Steve Nash shaved his head, which was a huge deal because he always had this long flowing hair.
Yeah.
It was a very distinct thing, huge, different, weird change. He was still one of the top guys in the NBA at this point, nearing the tail end of his career, though. I believe he was still in Phoenix. Yes, he was, because he was with Rajah Bell at the casino. And we see Steve. I'm like, man, that's Steve fucking Nash. He's so distinct, even with his head shaved. You know it's him. He's taller than everybody else in the room except Rajah Bell. It was just, he stood out. And he was obliterated. like me as drunk as I've ever been obliterated.
Yeah.
And he was in a white, like, designer tee, you know, some fucking Gucci white T-shirt that had, like, some shitty-ass design on it that you could barely see. And to his credit, this is a long time ago, brother.
Sure.
Like
mid-2000s.
people have run into me in circumstances where I'm sure I looked like this. But it was Steve Nash, so it was crazy. Like, I didn't even think this dude, like, you don't think of one of your, you know, favorite professional athletes, like, in their drunkest state.
Well, Steve Nash also seems like a pretty clean guy.
Straight-laced
you know what I mean?
dude,
Yeah.
He was fucked up.
That's
Like,
hilarious.
so wasted. And he was a little inappropriate with a situation that went down with, like, he was grabbing for this girl's... We were trying to get a picture with him.
Okay.
And he was kind of too fucked up to understand. And Raja Bell was, like, trying to hold him up and get him to be... Raja Bell was one of his teammates on the Suns.
Yeah.
Get him to be, like, cool about it.
Yeah.
And, like, he grabbed for the girl's camera. And there was this weird situation. But we ended up getting a picture with him. And he's clearly
Yeah.
so fucked up. And he looks like an alien. We'll put it up on Instagram. And on the at the Ross Bolen Podcast Instagram. And Raja had to, like, hold him up to take this picture with him, and then they, like, went away. But it was so funny because he was not what I expected at all. And I went for years thinking Steve Nash was an asshole because he gave us so much trouble that night.
Yeah.
And I think he was just really
fucked
drunk
up, yeah.
and is genuinely a good dude from
I mean,
what
I
I can
couldn't
tell.
imagine, like, being...
But it was weird, man.
Like, as somebody that's obviously been very, very drunk before... Being that
Steve
drunk
Nash
and having
famous.
that much influence, it would be a really weird thing. Like when
scary.
you're that
It's
intoxicated.
a lot of power.
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Like that's the one. Drunk with power and drunk with alcohol at the same time probably could be a pretty devastating cocktail right there.
Also, just in general, like if you're trying to kick it with some celebrities, that's probably one of the more affordable spots you could be in the world where you have a good chance.
Sure.
I'm serious. I think it really, really is. Like that's where I went for my honeymoon. Where I was with Cristiano Ronaldo for a week. Me and him just hanging out. Me and him and his
Yeah, best
family, you know,
friends.
best friends for life.
Yeah, that's why you go to Portugal.
But
once
he
a
was
year
going to the
still.
club like every night with his best friend, Chris.
Yeah, you.
No,
Oh,
his best friend.
other than you.
Another man. Wasn't me, sadly. That's all I have to say
Oh,
about that.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to say anything else about that.
Get what you're saying.
And I'm not trying to like out anybody here. It's just that was a weird situation, man. You don't take one cat like your best friend and then your whole fucking family on vacation, right? Isn't that a little odd?
I don't know.
It
If
was
I
just a weird spot.
If I was ridiculously rich and I had one best
That's
best
true.
best
And this
friend.
is like his dude.
That's
who
what I'm
he
saying.
like this dude's on the sidelines at every game.
Yeah.
I've seen him like run out on the field and celebrating shit after big stuff happens.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying. I heard stuff while I was there and I was
Sure.
like, what the fuck? But sports for
But I
all
mean,
their
rich, like very, very famous rich people. I mean, they kind of, reality gets skewed. You can do whatever you want.
also it's just a hard way to live where people want to talk about everything you do.
That's very
For
fair.
those guys,
That's very
especially
fair.
professional athletes. It's just such a weird thing. Hey, you're really good at sports ball, and now everybody's obsessed with you.
Sports.
Like Ronaldo's arguably the most famous person on the planet,
I think he is the most famous person on the planet. Like
and that's from soccer.
Instagram. Like
I'm not no
social
disrespect to
blast.
soccer. I know
Yeah,
it's one of
yeah.
the most popular sports in the world, but like when
It
you
is
think
the
about what
most popular
soccer is,
sport,
just
yeah.
from a basic standpoint, it's a bunch of grown men with big ass calves running around a field kicking a ball at each other.
Thighs too. Huge thighs.
Just muscly, rippling thighs.
Yeah.
Ronaldo's
Terrifying
stared at them for hours
Those
on
are
that
the
beach.
thighs
Hours.
that could crush watermelons. That's what I.
They
That's
can
what
crush
scares
anything.
me.
A
That's-
human skull.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It's kind of scary. It's kind of terrifying.
It really
They
is.
have cannons on their bodies.
For all the sports people, you know I tweet about betting on sports a lot, and people are constantly asking me, Ross, who do I bet on tonight? And I say, look, I don't have a clue who you should bet on, but I do know where. Where you're betting is just as important as who you're betting on, and obviously that's why I tell people to visit our sports betting sponsor, MyBookie, at MyBookie.ag. They've got deposit matches, free bets, huge cash prizes for you to take advantage of all season long. NFL action? Check. College ball? Check. Plus, they have a mobile-friendly website, top-of-the-line customer service, making their platform a one-stop shop for all your betting needs. MyBookie offers action on everything from championship futures to NFL in-game live betting, making sure you're covered every step of the way. You sign up at MyBookie today, and when you do, use our promo code RBP to claim a deposit match, dollar for dollar, all the way up to $1,000. Stipulations apply. It's a bonus designed to give you a little help and a head start on your winning season. That's promo code RBP for you to claim your bonus when you make your deposit. MyBookie.ag, they got stacked UFC cards, presidential prop bets if you're looking to bet on the outcome of the election tomorrow night, which you can bet your ass I will be. This is the place to do it. They've got all the major sports and more awaiting you at MyBookie.ag. Sign up today. Begin your winning season exclusively at MyBookie.ag with the code RBP. P. Next and final segment. What to expect during election week. So obviously it wouldn't make sense for Coles and I. How did you find that so quickly? He found the Steve Nash
I'm a
photo.
sleuth.
Did you Google my Twitter name and Steve Nash?
I just Googled Ross Bolen, Steve Nash. And there's like, this is the TMZ.
Let me see it again.
It's the TMZ article written about it.
About how we were best friends?
Yeah.
And how we were hanging out.
I was going to check the BBC after this. But
So, like, you see his shirt. What is this?
yeah,
But
I
you
don't-
see
they
what's
can't
going
really
on with
see
his
it.
shirt?
And
I'll
yeah,
say,
no, I see what's going on with the
Very,
shirt. Yeah.
very fortunate shoulder placement by Steve for me.
I would
My best
agree.
friend Steve Nash, because he covered up a massive polo horse on my chest.
Nice.
Huge.
For
The
branding.
photo would
Yeah.
never have worked for me if I had to show people that I was wearing that shirt. I'll admit it here in
You had a very
verbally.
different, like, you had this kind of like smile pose down, because every old photo I've seen of
I'm
you
fucking wasted right
is
there,
it.
yeah.
I know. You have every single time that I've seen you drunk in old photos, you have like the same like warm, rosy cheeked smile, because you had a couple more pounds on the body.
When
at that
I didn't
time.
have any problems yet, really.
Yeah, true. It's just
I'm serious. That
the
Ross was
naivety of life.
That's a totally different cat. Like, I don't even. It's funny. The older you get, you'll look back at phases, especially for guys like us that have mental health issues, and so like for me, my life is split pretty evenly. It's like childhood, fucking up for several years as a teenager, basically, then panic disorder. Like, those are the three segments of my life. And then, like, fourth, I guess, would be, like, learning to live with panic disorder. But
Yeah.
it's pretty clear. It's like childhood, fuck up teenager, panic disorder shifts everything, and then after panic disorder.
Sure.
So I don't know what that had to do with what we were talking
Looking
about.
back on times
but so
like
when I
this.
look back at, like, the photo of me and Steve Nash, I'm just like, who is that guy?
Yeah.
Like, what was that like? I can remember, obviously, what it was like. But if I went and did one night of my life now, I would die.
Yeah.
I would die. I don't know how I did it. Like,
It's over.
my body was just like able to take an insane amount of abuse. Probably more than most people, frankly. Genetics. Thanks, Mom and Dad.
You're just strong. You're
We're
strong
really
like
doing.
that.
I'm strong. I'm still standing. I'm still strong. What does he say after that? Left side? Is it left side, strong side? I can never remember the
remember
Titans
either.
back and forth.
I don't remember either.
Anyway, what to expect during election week? More Steve Nash talk for sure. That'll be a lot of what we discuss over the next 48 hours on Twitch and on the podcast. Lots and lots and lots of Steve Nash. But also, as I mentioned at the top of the show, we're going to be live tonight on Twitch, 6:30 p.m. Central, doing a vote or die stream. Meaning we're just going to be talking about voting, our experiences voting. Chris did voting early. I'm doing voting tomorrow, which is part of the reason we're doing this segment right now is to explain that we will not be recording tomorrow like we normally do. So the episode will be out later on Wednesday than it normally is. We have a Monday and Wednesday episode every single week. Chris and I usually record on Tuesday. The episode goes up late Tuesday night, so it's available for you Wednesday morning. Obviously, Chris and I are not going to be recording tomorrow, as I'm going to be spending God knows how many hours in line waiting to vote.
Could be
and
all day.
then we're going to be seeing what happens, and we're going to be going live on twitch.tv/BossRollin for election coverage all night long.
In
Chris and I will
costume.
be in costume. We're going to have a blast. We're going to make this as positive as we can, regardless of the outcome. I can promise you this. If you come hang with us on twitch.tv/BossRollin, you will be slightly happier than you would have if you didn't. If you just watch the news,
Can't guarantee.
I mean,
it.
I'm not saying there's not a chance tomorrow night won't go well for you if you just watch the news, especially because I know we have listeners on both sides of the aisle. But I'm saying for me, and I think for a lot of people, tomorrow night, no matter what happens, is not going to feel like a win.
True.
It's not.
And I'll say this too: the news wants to hurt you. Ross and I,
We want to help
we
you.
are your We are your weighted blanket.
We are
of
your warm
anxiety
shower.
relief.
You take cold showers and you come and get a warm mental shower with us.
Yeah, you come in, you feel soft, you feel safe. We can guarantee that. What we can't guarantee is your safety out there in the big wide world of 24-hour news.
It's called. Some
We're
might
trying to
even call
protect
it
you.
a golden shower
Well,
hour.
some might call
A
it
golden shower hour at 6:30 p.m. Central. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm not kidding about the
that.
time.
Well, it's not off the radar.
Well, that's true. It could completely devolve into that. It could. Look, man.
Theoretically,
It worked for
you know?
Blippy.
It did
It
work.
could
for Blippi.
work for us.
This could be the pivot we need.
But I don't think you and me are like shit guys, so we go pee. We just do some classic golden
Sure.
showering
Classic.
instead of a Blippy shit.
We did just promise a warm shower of safety and softness.
So this election week, We will be recording on Wednesday to discuss how Tuesday night goes in large part. It's going to be a more political podcast than normal. I will do my best, as will Chris, to stay somewhere towards the middle at the very least. But we're going to objectively make fun of and analyze everything that occurs over the course of this election. Do we expect to have a winner by the time we record Wednesday? I'm going to say almost certainly not.
I mean, we didn't.
Based on what I'm seeing.
We didn't have a clear winner. I remember in 2016, I went to bed at like 1 a.m, and we still didn't have a clear winner even then. We had a good idea.
I stayed up for that shit.
But we still didn't have like a fully clear
Man,
winner.
them
Well,
people,
you had an extra
them people
hour from me.
that
That's not
on
fair.
like CNN fading into depression as the night wore on was one of the most fascinating things I've ever watched unfold in my entire life, because it was so out of nowhere. Like, the thing about this year that makes it so interesting to me, election-wise, and this is from a general chaos standpoint, not like I'm objectively looking at how this is going to affect the world standpoint, is that we don't know what's going to happen. And that is sort of more of a feeling that we all have and are wrestling with as a result of 2016, where going in on the polls, like, the Democrats were very confident, and
Everybody
nobody
was
took it
very
super
confident.
serious that
No.
Donald Trump was like a real threat to Hillary Clinton.
Absolutely not.
And then he found a way to win that thing, even as he lost the popular vote. And now none of us trust the polling. So, because we read the polls last time, and they were largely misrepresentative of what was going to happen.
Absolutely.
And again, in this case, I feel like it could go either way.
I agree.
In those terms. Like, it could be that Biden has a much larger lead than is being currently represented. It could also be that lead is non-existent. I wouldn't be
absolutely could,
shocked if either of those things came. That's what makes tomorrow so interesting to me. It isn't a matter, like, I think no matter what, it's a shocking outcome.
Absolutely.
No matter what happens tomorrow. Like, I will be shocked no matter which of the, I guess probably realistically, like 3 or 4 things that can happen. 2 very likely things, and then a couple other less likely and more scary things. Like, I'll be shocked. I will be shocked no matter which of them gets picked.
Well, it's going to be really interesting to see, too, like, with the amount of mail-in ballots that we've had this year. Like, if
the
they
lawsuits are just going to rain down.
Well, also, if states are declared as a red versus a blue state, and then more votes are submitted at after the fact or hours later, will states be flipped? You know what I mean? Like, are they going to announce prematurely? We don't know.
This is always the question, though, and it's always an interesting matter of how this all works. And there's been so much discussion about these mail-in ballots this year, and it's funny. I was looking up like mail-in ballot statistics on the Google machine, which Q people believe to not be real news. You can't actually find any real news via Google, according to Q.
What do you find on 4chan?
Just fake news only. And mail-in balloting has always been an issue. And like tens of thousands of mail-in ballots get thrown out every election.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with many more people utilizing mail-in ballots as a result of the pandemic, you could expect that there would be chaos in that realm, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we're all pretty much expecting that now. Like, and the thing about the government, once you've had enough experience with government agencies, or everybody who's ever been on papers, everybody who's ever been on probation, you have a good feel for how the government works. If you've ever spent like 3+ hours in like a DPS or a DMV, you have a pretty good feel for how government works in terms of like speed and productivity.
Absolutely.
So do I expect them to be able to crank out the fucking solution to the whole drama of the mail-in ballot thing like in the next 24 hours? No.
Not even close.
Like, no.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem realistic at all.
Yeah.
So we will get to make fun of all of it even more because there won't be a final result yet in all likelihood. So come back Wednesday. Make sure you're here for the RBP post-election so we can discuss everything that's going on. We'll try to frame it up in a good light that can keep everybody in somewhat of a positive headspace. And come tonight to twitch.tv/BossRoland for the Vote or Die stream with Chris and I at 6:30 p.m. Central Monday evening. And then, of course, Tuesday evening, same time, 6:30 p.m. Central. Coles and I will be alive again on twitch.tv/BossRoland to do some election coverage. And again, we will be in costume. Come out, hang out, subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, like, share, but come through on Twitch for real. Say hi in the chat. Really do subscribe or follow. Support the stream. The stream is strong. And that'll do it for today's show. But before you head out to take on the world, it's time for some very important announcements. Other ones. You've been saddled with 3 legal obligations as a result of having listened to this entire podcast today. The first of which is you must rate and review. Give us 5 stars, write 2 or 3 sentences about why you love the show. Boom, you're done. Check that box and move on with your day to your legal obligation number 2, which is to tell a friend, a family member, a coworker, a neighbor, any one individual you can think of that may enjoy the Ross Bolen podcast with Ross Bolen and Chris Coulson. Share the show with them. Pick a person, any one person every week. You share the show with one person every week, the show continues to grow, we get to continue to have the show, and everybody wins. Then you move on to your third and final legal ob, which is to support our sponsors who support us and keep us in business. Today, we've got Birddogs.com. Use that code RBP, get those nunchucks. Go to Bespoke Post, check out theboxofawesome.com, code RBP for 20% off your first box from Bespoke Post, boxofawesome.com, code RBP, and of course, MyBookie.ag, our sports betting sponsor, where you use the code RBP for a dollar-for-dollar match on your deposit up to $1,000. Stipulations apply. Support our sponsors to support the show. Those are your 3 legal obligations. Check all those boxes. I'll call off the dogs. We want it to see each other in court, and we can all live long and prosper. Follow us on social media. We're on Instagram at the Ross Bolen Podcast, where every day we fill up our story with photos and videos sent in by our listenership. That's you, the RBP gang. We mostly collect those photos through Snapchat. You'll hear both Chris and I's Snapchats mentioned momentarily, so write them down, add them to your phone. Send us all the Snapchats that are relevant to the RBP gang, and we will put them up on Instagram at the Ross Bolen Podcast each and every day. We're on Twitter at Ross Bolen Pod. We're also on Facebook.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. Follow us, like us, rate us, review us, share, subscribe, all the things I've said over and over and over. My name is Ross Bolen, and you can follow me on social media at WRBOLEN, at WR Bolen. My first name is William Ross Bolen. That's why it's WR Bolen. Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, it's all the same, at WR Bolen. And then again, follow us on twitch.tv/BossRollin, where we go live a few times a week playing video games with podcast listeners often, and we have a blast. Chris, where can everybody follow you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Q0ULS. You can find me on Instagram at ChrisSC99. And you can find me on Snapchat at Chris_Coulson. Make sure you send those snaps in, boys and girls.
Keep them coming.
Everybody.
Check out Bolen
Dogs.
Media's television and film podcast, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, available wherever RBP is available. For those of you who are in the Clam fam and big fans of OCC, you'll be pleased to hear that we are doing the show a little bit differently moving into 2021 with the goal of it not being so viewership intensive. Like, you don't have to watch 9 hours of TV to keep up with the show. We're going to be shifting to more general entertainment and TV and movie discussion. We'll be doing a lot of things, very light spoilers, but as spoiler-free as we can. And generally, the show will be accessible to everybody every week instead of you having to keep up with so many different things to be able to enjoy Barrett, Dudley, and I's discussion about everything we're watching in TV and film and entertainment news and pop culture, etc. So, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, if you love TV, movies, Hollywood, pop culture, all the news in all those realms, you're going to love Oysters, Clams, and Cockles. Subscribe, listen, support Bolen Media, as that is our other podcast. That will do it for RBP 345, produced by Mike Moody Garcia of Permanent Record Studios in Austin, Texas, and we will be back on Wednesday, as I said, later in the day on Wednesday than normal with RBP 346, doing some election coverage, and of course, Friday we'll be back ad-free, exclusively on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. Support us going into November and December on Patreon. Get your ad-free episodes of RBP every Friday. Patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. It is a minimum of just $5 monthly to support this podcast, keep us in business, and get yourself some additional RBP every week in return. You are not alone. Podmen get paid. Respect Mr. Park. Strength and honor. Gang, gang, gang. Chris?
Peace be with you.
And also with you.